In a world where everyone seems to be in a race, rushing to meet deadlines, chasing goals, and climbing social and corporate ladders, have you ever stopped to ask, at what cost? The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, might argue that modern burnout stems not from our tasks, but from how we choose to approach them. Today, we're going to dive deep into what the ancient Stoics would say about burnout, and how their philosophy can help us not just survive, but thrive in this chaotic world. Before we jump in, don't forget to like and subscribe to help our journey, and stick around until the end, because this video is packed with practical wisdom that could genuinely change your life. Number 1. Burnout and the misalignment of values. Burnout often arises when our actions misalign with what truly matters to us. The Stoics believe that we suffer not from external events, but from our judgments about them. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Many of us burn out because we pursue goals that society deems important, neglecting our inner values in the process. For instance, take a professional working 12-hour days for years to secure promotions they don't truly desire. The Stoic principle of living in accordance with nature means aligning with your true self, not society's expectations. When you spend energy on things that don't resonate, your spirit feels drained. Modern life glorifies productivity over purpose. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." By reassessing whether our goals align with our values, we can avoid the trap of meaningless overwork. The solution lies in taking regular inventory of what truly matters. Journaling, a practice Stoics frequently recommended, helps clarify whether you're investing energy into the right pursuits. Ask yourself daily, is this task leading me closer to my purpose? By focusing on what matters most and letting go of superficial goals, you preserve energy for what truly fulfills you, avoiding the spiral of burnout altogether. Number 2. The power of perspective in overcoming stress. Burnout is often fueled by an overwhelming sense of stress. However, the Stoics taught that it's not events themselves that stress us, but our interpretation of them. Seneca noted, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How often do we lose sleep over things that never come to pass? Imagine someone panicking over a delayed project at work. In their mind, it's a catastrophe. But does the delay truly define their worth or future? The Stoics would argue that it doesn't. This perspective shift is vital in reducing stress. Reframing challenges as opportunities to grow builds resilience. Epictetus urged us to focus only on what we can control. You may not control the deadline, but you can control your effort, mindset, and attitude. These small shifts lighten the mental load. Modern tools like mindfulness echo Stoic practices of grounding yourself in the present. Focusing on what's happening now, rather than catastrophizing, prevents the unnecessary buildup of stress that leads to burnout. By controlling your perception and choosing a calmer response, you regain power over situations that might otherwise overwhelm you. Perspective, after all, is everything. Number 3. The role of rest and reflection. While modern society glorifies constant action, the Stoics knew the importance of rest and reflection. Marcus Aurelius, one of the busiest men of his time as Emperor of Rome, often retreated to his meditations to recharge and refocus. Burnout happens when we neglect recovery. The human body, like a bow, needs balance. Pulling it too tight for too long weakens it. The Stoics would advise us to integrate moments of stillness into our lives. Consider a leader who works nonstop, believing rest is a luxury. They eventually collapse, unable to serve their team. Had they embraced rest earlier, their contributions would have been sustainable. Seneca once said, "Leisure without books is death, and burial of a man alive." Reflection through reading or journaling offers the mental rejuvenation we need. Modern practices like the power nap or digital detox mirror Stoic principles of intentional rest. Disconnecting from noise allows space for clarity, creativity, and emotional healing. Remember, pausing isn't quitting. It's an essential part of the journey. The Stoics would remind us that even nature has cycles, day and night, seasons of growth and rest. Why should we be any different? Number 4, mastering emotional regulation. Burnout is often exacerbated by unchecked emotions. The Stoics were masters of emotional regulation, believing that by controlling our emotions, we could control our reactions. Take the example of a worker frustrated by an overbearing boss. Instead of reacting with anger or despair, a Stoic would pause and examine their feelings. Does this situation warrant my energy? They might ask. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Emotional resilience involves acknowledging feelings without letting them dictate actions. Modern tools like cognitive behavioral therapy mirror Stoic techniques, emphasizing rational evaluation over impulsive reaction. Stoics like Seneca advise premeditatio malorum, anticipating potential challenges to prepare emotionally. For instance, before a stressful meeting, visualize the worst-case scenario and practice calm acceptance. This exercise trains your mind to remain composed under pressure. By regulating emotions, you conserve energy for meaningful pursuits, reducing the emotional exhaustion that contributes to burnout. Calmness, a core Stoic virtue, becomes your shield against modern chaos. Number 5, accepting imperfection and letting go. A significant cause of burnout is the pursuit of perfection. The Stoics would remind us that life is inherently imperfect. No man has ever been wise by chance, said Seneca, emphasizing that growth is a process, not an end goal. Modern professionals often set unattainable standards, striving for flawless performance. This mindset inevitably leads to disappointment and exhaustion. The Stoics encourage us to embrace imperfection, focusing instead on progress. Imagine an artist paralyzed by the fear of critique. If they never start, they never grow. Epictetus urged, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Accepting imperfection doesn't mean settling. It means learning from mistakes and improving over time. Letting go also applies to uncontrollable outcomes. Stoics teach us to release attachment to results, focusing instead on effort. Whether a project succeeds or fails, your value lies in the integrity of your actions, not the outcome. In letting go of perfectionism, you free yourself from the mental chains that lead to burnout. Progress, not perfection, is the Stoic path to a fulfilled life. Number 6, living in the present moment. One of the primary causes of burnout is the constant dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. The Stoics emphasized living in the present moment, believing that the present is the only time we truly have control over. Marcus Aurelius wrote, confine yourself to the present. This advice is timeless in combating the overwhelm of modern life. Imagine a student constantly replaying past failures while fearing the outcome of future exams. This mental tug-of-war leaves no energy for the task at hand. By focusing entirely on the present, they can fully commit to studying without the distractions of regret or anxiety. Modern distractions like social media amplify this problem by pulling us into comparison and competition. The Stoics would encourage us to disconnect from these external influences and bring our attention back to what we can do right now. Practices like mindful breathing or setting daily intentions align with this Stoic principle. These habits remind us to be present and aware, breaking the mental cycles that lead to burnout. By living in the now, you conserve energy and approach life with clarity and purpose. Each moment becomes an opportunity, not a burden, and burnout becomes a distant threat. Number 7, the art of saying no. Burnout is often the result of taking on too many responsibilities, a symptom of our inability to say no. The Stoics valued simplicity and intentional living, advocating for the rejection of unnecessary commitments. Seneca warned, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Picture an employee who agrees to every request, fearing they'll disappoint others. Over time, they become stretched too thin, with no energy left for themselves. The Stoics would urge them to prioritize and focus only on tasks aligned with their goals and values. Learning to say no is a skill rooted in self-respect. By understanding your limits and clarifying your priorities, you protect your energy. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibilities, but rather choosing them wisely. The Stoic practice of essentialism, identifying and eliminating the unnecessary, is crucial here. Modern techniques like time blocking or creating non-negotiable personal time also reflect this wisdom. By saying no to what doesn't matter, you say yes to a more balanced and meaningful life. The Stoics remind us that fewer, well-chosen actions lead to greater peace. Number 8, building inner fortitude. Burnout often stems from external pressures, but the Stoics teach us that true strength comes from within. Developing resilience, what they called inner fortitude, is key to navigating challenges without becoming overwhelmed. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly. Resilience is built over time by embracing challenges as opportunities to grow." Imagine a small business owner struggling to keep their venture afloat. Rather than succumbing to despair, they use each setback as a lesson, growing stronger with each experience. The Stoics often practiced voluntary discomfort, choosing to face small challenges to prepare for greater ones. For example, fasting or enduring cold weather intentionally builds mental toughness, making life's inevitable hardships easier to bear. Modern equivalents like deliberately reducing reliance on luxuries or practicing gratitude for the essentials foster resilience. These practices remind us that we can survive and even thrive with less. Burnout is less likely when you build inner strength. By focusing on growth rather than avoidance, the storms of life become opportunities to cultivate wisdom and endurance. Number 9, the wisdom of detachment. A major cause of burnout is over-attachment to outcomes, roles, or possessions. The Stoics advocated for detachment, not in the sense of indifference, but as a way to prevent being consumed by things outside our control. Seneca wrote, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." This philosophy encourages us to approach each day with a fresh perspective, free from the weight of yesterday's attachments. For instance, someone who loses their job may spiral into burnout if their identity is tied to their work. By detaching from the role and focusing on what they can rebuild, they maintain their peace. Modern society often measures worth by external success, titles, possessions, and achievements. The Stoics challenge this by reminding us that our character, not our circumstances, defines us. Detaching from these external markers allows us to focus on what truly matters. Practices like decluttering your physical space or simplifying your schedule reflect Stoic detachment. These actions free mental energy and create room for what's essential. By embracing detachment, you protect yourself from the emotional drain of loss or failure. The Stoics remind us that freedom lies in valuing what cannot be taken away, our inner strength and virtue. Number 10, finding joy in the process. Burnout often arises when we view work and responsibilities as burdens rather than opportunities. The Stoics believed in finding joy in the process, regardless of the outcome. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Perform each action as if it were your last." This mindset transforms even mundane tasks into meaningful acts. Imagine a nurse working long shifts who begins to resent their job. By reframing their work as a chance to help others, they find renewed energy and purpose. The Stoics teach us to focus on the value of what we do, not just its rewards. Modern life often prioritizes results over the journey, leading to frustration when things don't go as planned. The Stoics would argue that fulfillment comes from giving your best effort, not from guaranteeing success. One way to practice this is through gratitude, appreciating the opportunity to contribute or learn through your work. Even difficult tasks can be sources of growth if approached with the right mindset. By finding joy in the process, you protect yourself from burnout. The Stoics remind us that every moment holds meaning if we choose to see it, making life itself a fulfilling journey. The Stoics understood that life's pressures, whether ancient or modern, are part of the human experience. By living in the present, saying no, building resilience, detaching from outcomes, and finding joy in the process, they offer us a roadmap to overcome burnout. If you found these insights valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Let's spread these timeless lessons together. And remember, the path to peace is not in doing less, but in doing what matters most. Stay wise, and see you next time.